Alright, so this next unit that we're going to be starting on is we're going to kind of go back to lines, which you did in 8th grade, Math 1, probably again in a little bit in Math 3, but we're going to look again at it here, just to kind of refresh our memories, because this next unit is going to be a lot about solving some of these basic things like solving lines and inequalities, and talking about domain and range again, but our functions are going to get more complex. And so that's where the new part's coming in. So we're going to start off today by just going over lines in a plane. So we had two forms that we write lines in. Our first form was point slope. This is probably the most common and, in my opinion, one of the easiest ones to do. You have your y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And some things to note is that y1 and x1 are a point on your line, or on the line. M, that's your slope. And the x and the y that don't have a subscript, these are just variables that are supposed to be in our equation. So those need to stay x and y. Our second form that we used was slope-intercept form. So the other form was slope-intercept. And that was y equals mx plus b. So here again we have our slope is m. We have our y-intercept. And then just like in the one above, we have an x and a y. These are the variables that are supposed to be part of the equation. So we want them there. So what we're going to be doing, I'm going to do two examples here where we're going to practice writing an equation of a line with some given information in these two forms. So let's try our first one. We're writing the equation. We're going to be given the point 2, 3 and the slope -5. So because on this one we were given a point and a slope, I'm going to write it in point slope form because that was the information that was given to me. So we have our y minus y1 equals our slope times x minus x1. There's no simplifying needed, you're done. So this would be our point slope form. Now if your directions said to go to slope intercept form, what we would have to do here is take this equation and solve for y. So I'm going to distribute the -5 and add 3. There's slope-intercept. So make sure you read the directions to know which form it's asking for. Okay. We'll do another one like this in class if you need it, but that should be pretty much a review of how to write an equation of a line depending on which form it's asking. So again, if it gives you point slope, then you just plug in the point and the slope and you're done. There's only time you'll need to simplify is if you end up with a double negative on this side. If they want slope intercept, you can start here, solve for y, you have your slope intercept. Okay, something else with lines that we need to recall is parallel and perpendicular. So parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. And so what we're going to be doing is going over a question, and we'll do this one in class tomorrow, but it's a question that'll look like, it'll tell you that it passes through a point, and is A, parallel, and B, perpendicular to 8x minus 4y equals 5. So it'll give you a point and then give you a line and say find the equation of the parallel line and the perpendicular line to this given line that goes through that point. And so we'll talk about how to actually solve this. If you think you remember and you want to try it, go ahead and try it. We'll go over this one in class. And if you guys need another one like the first example up here, we can do another one. Just let me know. But I'm only going to plan on this unless you guys tell me otherwise. So that's all we're doing for this first day, is going over lines and reviewing those two forms.